Blessings, guys. Alex Angelo with you. I'm a tarot consultant, spiritual guide, intuitive astrologist, and tarot coach. Today, I want to show you a small spread that is called Grow. That is actually a tarot coaching technique that is going to help you to achieve your goals. If you are a little hesitant or if you are indecisive about what kind of actions to take in order to be able to go and achieve your goals. So this technique is one of the famous techniques in the world of tarot coaching, and as a professional tarot coach who has been practicing tarot and astrology for over 9 years, I now also incorporate this kind of techniques like neuro-linguistic programming, psychological and parapsychological techniques into my practices, because out of my own experience, this has been giving me a lot of benefits since I've been working with my clients. I've been trying to help them, and to this day I can proudly say that I've been helping at least over hundreds of people who have been resorting to me for the consultations and the insights. So let me explain you a little bit more about the growth system. What is growth technique and tarot coaching, and where is it coming from? Well, the growth technique is actually mainly related to the neuro-linguistic programming psychological technique that is called SMART. What is the SMART technique? The SMART technique is a way of formulating your desires or your goals so that according to those steps that you're going to take, you are eventually going to be able to achieve the goal or the dream of yours. I'm not going to talk a lot more about this right now because I am planning to make a wider spectrum of video about this subject, but right now what I want to do is that I just want to show you a small example of the grow technique so that you know how it's working. So for now, what I want to do, I just want to give you a small reading based on the experience of one of my clients. She asked me about what is she supposed to do about the work of job offer that she has just received from 2 companies. Well, if you're a professional and experienced tarot reader, then you can think to yourself that actually that would be a better option to do 2 options spread for this particular case. But again, as I mentioned before, so this technique is going to be more appropriate for this situation because it's going to also give the guidance and the directions our client will have to take in order to achieve their goals. For this specific reading, I'm using one of my favorite customized tarot weight decks. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to focus on my client. You can actually try this method yourself if you are struggling to get the answer to certain questions, if you're struggling to make the decision, and what kind of actions you're supposed to take regardless any kind of situation. This spread can work for any kind of situation. So that's why I want you now to, for example, concentrate on your question if you have your tarot deck at your hand, and you can repeat the technique with me. So after we concentrate on our client, we're going to now put the cards around here, open them just like this. If your client is with you together in the same room, then you can ask her or him to intuitively pick up 4 cards from you from the deck. If they are not here, meanwhile thinking and focusing about them, you can do it yourself. So my choice is going to be this first card, second card, third card, and fourth card. So now let me explain to you what these cards and their positions are. So the growth system, as you know, consists of 4 letters. It's G, R, O, and W. So the first one is going for G, which is the goal. The grow, the goal. So apparently this is going to be the goal of our client. I'm going to give you the interpretation of the cards a little later after I explain to you the spread itself. The second one is R, and the word grow is R. So this is the reality, the reality of our client. This is what's going through her head. This is what she's thinking. This is what her reality looks like at the moment. The O in the word grow goes for option or obstacle, depending on the card. If the card is positive, then it can be the option. If the card is negative, then it could be actually the obstacle. So at this point we can see a pretty positive card. So this is actually the option that she's going to be able to get to choose from. And the last one is the W with the way out, or the conclusion, basically the will. Also a very positive card. So it seems like her idea and her goal will be achieved, but in order to achieve them all, she's gonna have to take certain steps. So the first one is the grow. The goal of our client is basically to be able to achieve the power. As we know, the Queen of Swords and the Suit of Swords is a very clearly related to the thinking, to the activities. So basically, our client is a very strong woman, probably even maybe business-oriented woman. She is used to relying on her rational rather than on her emotional about making certain decisions. So this is representing the reality of this is representing the goal of our client. So basically, she's trying to think about it. She's trying to make a clear, rational decision of how to be able to achieve this goal of hers. The goal of hers might be to get a new position job or a higher position job. As we can see, the Queen of Swords is also indicating a position that can be upheld by the administration or the management. So the goal of our client is actually to get this high position job. Her reality is that probably she's going through some kind of fears and uncertainty in her head, so she doesn't really know what's going on, and this is exactly what's causing her this panicking, or maybe sometimes some sort of panic attacks or fears or irrational fears inside of her, because she doesn't really see the clear vision of her goal. This is her reality. So this is the part that where she's going to have to work on. Actually, she's going to have to work on her fears. She's going to have to work, probably at this one we could clearly wish our client to probably do some psychological sessions with a therapist, maybe, or at least to spend some more time on meditations, on things that can bring her emotional irritation down. Because right now her reality is like she's got a lot of fears, but those fears might be irrational and not based on the real danger, or not based on the real problems. Because as you can see over here, the swords are not touching the woman, but they're going by, so it's more likely made up or exaggerated situation in our client's head. The next one over here is the Lover's card. The Lover's card is actually, as we know, is all, besides indicating the emotional strong bond, this is also a card that indicates a choice, or a clear choice that has to be made by our client. And this is one of her options. So she is probably in between this job and another job, and she's trying to make this decision, and that's why this decision may cause her this kind of irrational inner fears, why she's not being able to make the decision correctly. But right now, as we see over here, the decision that if she's eventually going to go for, if she follows her own intuition, more likely to be the right decision, because the last card is the way out, is the Ten of Pentacles. So we can clearly see that she's going to be able to get that job eventually if she is brave enough to make the first step and not to give in to her irrational fears. She's going to be able to get the job, to get that high position job. And as we can see, the 10th always indicate the conclusion of any kind of situation, but in this case, in her case, this is a very positive conclusion, where we can clearly see that she will probably be the manager or the administrator of some group of people in the office, and she'll be surrounded by people and in a very quite successful work community around her. So that's why we can clearly say that, according to the goals, what our client should really work on is her emotional and inner fears, because this is the only thing that might keep her from achieving her goals. And the rest, the cards seem to be very positive, and actually there's nothing to stand on her way except for her own fears that she should take action. So when it comes to this card, what as a tarot specialist and also coach, I would highly recommend our client to probably start doing some kind of meditation, or maybe work with emotional distress management, and trying to take some classes from the psychologist, or from meditation classes that can also help her to clarify her mind and help her to get over her fears. So my dears, as you can see, this was a small spread for you, trying to give you the overview of how the tarot coaching might work for you out as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me, feel free to direct message me, and I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Blessings, and feel free to like the video and follow my page for more tarot and astrological content. Stay well.